it's time for Art Talk, and I want to introduce you to my good friend Susana Baker, and she's going to take over from here with a very interesting guest,
Conde.
Andre Conde, who is a gallery owner, and well, I'm just going to pass it on.
Good morning, Dan and Alicia, and my guest, Andres Conde. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Susana. Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, it was a long-awaited, and I'm so happy that it was long-awaited because now we're on the Money Man, which is listened through iHeart around the world, and Daniel Frischberg brings a whole audience that is just right up our alley in the art world. So we're super excited to be part of the Money Man and super excited to have you. Now, Andres, I was very fortunate to come to your reception, and between yourself, your art, you are so admired and embraced by Miami audiences, young, old. Your work, your artwork, your paintings are so different, and you really catch that glamour and nostalgia, especially in your new series, Social, which really captures that old glamour of Havana. There's no doubt that as I look at all your paintings, even going back a decade, I can definitely see that you have been totally inspired by beautiful women.
Can the audience look online right now?
Absolutely.
Where are these paintings where they could just see a little picture of it? Won't do it justice, but at least they get an idea.
They can find them at AndresCondeArt.com.
AndresConde.com.
No, ART.com.
ART. Oh,
Right.
AndresCondeArt.com.
That would be my website, and you can see all of my new works, as well as some of the older paintings that I've put up.
Now, what inspired you? Because I know you come from, you came here from Havana, from Cuba, and I know your father was a political prisoner, and you know the hardship. And so your art doesn't show, at least in the series and the paintings I have seen, I don't see some of the other Cuban artists that do show that hardship or show something about their family or ancestors.
I see where you're going with this, and I did do a series that came from the heart that had to do a lot with the political aspects that my father and I saw in Cuba, but that was back in 1996 when I did a series called The Pop Revolution, when the image outlives the ideology. Now I've grown out of the despair and all of the hardships that the country has gone through, and what I'm trying to create is that nostalgic look, going back to the early 40s through 1959, which was the heyday of Cuba. And what I want to do is actually recreate that look of.
Stop for a break. It's 30 seconds, 20 now.
I'm sorry. What I wanted to do was take that nostalgic look at Cuba in its heyday. I don't want it to be all about, you know, misery and poverty as most people realize after the special period that the island went through. I don't want that view to be the last thing people remember of Cuba.
We're going to go to a break now, Andres, but I want you to come back and I want you to tell everybody about your beautiful new gallery in Little Havana.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can take we're now back, Art Talk listeners and the Money Man listeners and all our art fans that love Andres Conde. Yes, we do have him on our show this morning. So Andres, as we were saying, I know now, as you were mentioning to the audience before we took our break, your new series now is more about the nostalgia. And I think you call it?
It's called Social, and Social basically was a magazine that started in 1916 in Cuba and ran right through 1938 when it closed its doors. I basically have reopened up the magazine in my mind, and I'm creating new covers. The covers will be going from 1939 through 1959, so it's 20 years of covers that I'm trying to recreate, 240 covers in total, and it would end at the date of the revolution. So in July 1959, I would basically close the doors of the magazine again, and that will be the end of the series. It should take me about 7 years to complete.
Oh my Lord, that's what I was going to tell you. So you're looking now at 2022?
Yeah,
right?
More or less, yeah.
Oh my Lord, have mercy. Well, that's really exciting. Now, Ernie Vallis, who was on my show recently, he, did 13 paintings every month. And his goal was to finish it in 13 months, and it was crazy. What kind of goal you set yourself in order to complete that project for 2022?
Basically, I'm doing about one cover every 2 weeks, so about 2 covers a month, sometimes 3. But they are rather large in size, and so some of them take a little longer than others.
They're gorgeous.
Oh,
they're absolutely fabulous. When I went to your opening, I took some pictures, and there's something very exciting brewing up with a very big corporation that hopefully will come to the plate, and I believe they will, but we will keep that for another show. Now, Andres Conde, tell me, where can people see your fabulous work?
Well, my studio and gallery is located at 1007 Southwest 8th Street in Little Havana.
Now, can I ask you why the move? I know that you came from downtown, and then you've moved, and I've seen this influx of new artists, either whether they were displaced or whether it's an influx because they're following the herd, and not the herd, because many are called, few are chosen. So I mean that with pure respect. The elite herd of artists in our community. What made you decide this is where I want to open up my new gallery?
Well, Little Havana has always held a special place in my heart. When my grandmother reached the States through the Mariel boat lift, that's where we stayed. So basically, her apartment was 2 blocks behind the Domino Park, and growing up, that's where we went. I mean, we went to a pub, to have lunch almost every day, and it was that kind of nostalgic feeling about the town. Not only that, but Little Havana has this special flavor that no other part of South Florida has. It really has captured a sense of community within the Cuban community. Has basically built that small area, and they continually make it better, and it has grown not just in South Florida, but also nationwide. I keep seeing more and more tours coming through the area, and people are fascinated by the way that we as a culture continue to make things a little bit brighter in our area. So
you're absolutely correct. I mean, there's 800 tourists. We had Bill Fuller here last week or the week before, and as you know, he's been a big pioneer and developer in Little Havana, the Latin quarters. So I'm definitely with you. I'm so with you that I think tomorrow we're opening up our visitors information, long awaited as well, but we're opening up with Annalise Morales, who will be running that. She chairs the Merchant Alliance for Little Havana, so we were very happy to bring her on our team to spearhead the Visitors Information Center, to send visitors beyond Domino's Park, beyond the little, where do they go? They go to 13th Avenue, they turn around like a herd, they follow each other, they don't even cross the street. I've sat there in Cuba Ocho and literally seen them just like they think about it, then it's like they're touching treacherous grounds. So our new visitor curators of Little Havana, which is a tour guide / curator, will be there to guide them and let them know, yes, you can go beyond and find the real Cuban Little Havana experience. Because it's such a shame when they just go into just one area and that's it, and they see these little old men playing dominoes, drink a coconut if they're lucky to even experience that, or buy a little chicha in Little Havana to go, which is all good, but you gotta go see the fabulous art, the Cuban artists, all types of art that's there, and the mixture of beautiful culture from Cuba Ocho to Conde art to Conch Hill, just on and on. So we're there starting tomorrow to start taking tourists to different areas through our visitors map. And Andres, we're going to come right back. We're taking a break now. And actually, Dan, why don't you just come in with your wonderful questions that you always have to Andres Conde? I know that you've been looking a little Havana.
I will, and I want to take it a little bit to the mundane.
Absolutely.
Because my audience, the reason we're doing this is because we want to have a life of that's you're a culture editor, and the question is, why does a stock market guy need culture? And the answer is because that's the kind of life we want to have, and we want a meaningful life. And art is an investment as well as something that you enjoy. And every single person who has real money has got an art collection. Everyone. They have oil, they have real estate, they have stocks, they have art. Every single one, without question. So the people that are panicking trying to pay the bills aren't thinking about it. People who have a little bit of time know that there's real value there. When we come back, are we ready for a break or what? Oh, 1 minute. Okay. So when we come back, I really want to talk about the etiology of your success, because I want to talk about how does somebody go from. I went to art school myself. I had no talent. It was a good way to filter me out of the pool, but I did go to art school. And the thing is, there were a lot of really fine artists there. Some of them became famous and rich and valuable. Some didn't. I want to talk about how did it happen? How do you rise from just being good and creative to actually being worth money, where my audience is going to come and buy the paintings? We'll do that when we come back. This is the Money Man.
I'm ready. Okay, Art Talk listeners and Money Man listeners, and we are so happy to have Andres Conde from Conde Art Gallery here and AndresCondeArt.com. I also was reminded to mention to my audience that we also are opening up our Little Havana Information Center, but we also have through the artexperiences.com, you could find out how to take a private curated tour into the Latin quarters and enjoy that. And also HavanaArtTours.com, we have a trip going to Havana in October, and you could join us and go into Havana as well. So with that said, Dan, you were mentioning a great topic, which obviously is about investment.
Well, it's what we all want to know as we're sitting here. You know, all of us who get to do something that's entertaining. It didn't happen because you sat around and said, gee, what can I do that people will buy? You happened to do something and then people liked it. This is the luckiest thing in the world. It could have gone the other way. I'm sure you have that experience. And you wonder, how did I get so lucky that they like it? Because I would pay to do this. And fortunately, I don't have to, right? So now, but when you started out, did you go to real art school, a formal art school?
I went to commercial art school, which is likely the reason why my work has such a wide net. A lot of people can identify with almost everything that I paint simply because they either have seen it in some way or another out in the streets.
You're painting the times rather than painting some ideal.
Exactly. I'm not into abstract expressionism. I'm more of a pop impressionist than
okay, so you started out painting this, and your dad says, "Oh, how great!"
No, my dad actually didn't want me to paint. My dad wanted me to go to medical school. Like every Cuban dad, they either want you to be a lawyer or a doctor, and they don't have any other
No options.
No. Art was not up for
okay,
debate.
don't waste your time. So now you're painting. You can't stop because you just like doing it, and it turns out that even as a kid, you're making stuff that actually looks like something.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
That you're getting proportions, you're depth, and all these things that you're intuitively knowing that everybody else has to take a class. So now, how did you become? I don't want to say discovered. How did it happen that your painting started to come to the attention of somebody and started to actually be bought for money, so that you could actually start your trip.
And have followers and he's collected very well.
Yeah, I get it. That's why he's here. But
actually, you have one major sponsor who really has followed you and which is a true collector, is one that continues to commission and collect.
Correct. Apollo Financial Group actually was or is my current sponsor, and they have believed.
This is a private equity hedge fund, actually, right?
Apollo Financial Group deals in debt, basically.
Right, exactly.
So I'm not sure how.
It's hedge funds.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know how they work, but they've taken a real interest in me and have actually been supporting me for quite some time.
And it's something like what you said before in the commercial break. It's almost like the stock market. Can you tell to our listeners what you meant by with the art being like a stock?
Well, the truth of the matter is, you have to find an artist that is up and coming and has some that has a future in increasing the value of the artwork, and it's really hard.
And that's what I'm trying to get to the bottom of. How does that happen? Does it happen because he's a good promoter? Does it happen because someone who's a good promoter knows how to do it? Tell me the mechanism.
Well, the artist himself has to be a good artist to begin with, and then it has to do with how viable is his artwork within the span of things.
Relevant. On American Idol, they call it is irrelevant.
It's irrelevant, exactly.
Yeah.
Is his art going to last 100 years, or is his art going to disappear in the next 2 years?
Right.
And so these are the choices that a lot of people have to take into account when buying from an artist. How established is he? Did he start last week, or did he start a decade ago? And how much work can be put out by this artist within a certain period of time.
Now, by buying a Rembrandt, you may make money, you may not make money, but buying a guy who's alive, but having a lot of attention and people buying his stuff is like buying what I was talking about, Gilead Sciences, and then it just expands hundreds of percent.
Exactly. And I got to tell you, just to, I know we're not going to close the show, just to let you know, when you invest or when you research and you get an artist who's being collected, who's being embraced, who you see a lot of social media, a lot of people going to his shows, a lot of people really being wowed through the critiques and so on, that means, you know, here you should say, you know, you pick 2 or 3 and you invest in one, because it's like investing in a stock that
you don't invest because, let me put it into my jargon, you don't invest in it because you see a herd running to it. You get to know this guy, you understand what he's doing, you know when he does something special, you have a feeling for how he fits into the world, and that's when you have a good chance.
We'll wrap it right there.
And I gotta tell you, Andres Conde, thank you so much. And I know that your art will always be beautiful, because I know your muse, Stacy Conde, your wife for over almost close to 20 years, right?
20 years.
Has been your muse. And so thank you, Andres Conde.
She is Susana Baker. He is Andre Conde. He is the money man.
Yeah, and I actually get to continue this because I could come over to your gallery and actually talk. I think this is fascinating, because I think the stock market is getting ready, maybe within the next year, to make a top, and everybody's going to be looking around for things, and the people that listen to us are going to have that little extra edge because they know what they're doing. And the people with money who are buying paintings, now they're going to get more directed.
Absolutely.
And know what they're buying and why, and get to support somebody for real.
Absolutely.
Okay, guys, we're going to get a hook. So thank you so much for listening to us. And thank you all for having sharing your stories.
I love it, and we will see you tomorrow. We'll be back. This is the Money Man Report on Radio Wall Street. Have a wonderful rest of the day.